Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of Eye of the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, and King Dio. Lately, following the completion of Metroid Dread, I've been going back and playing some of the Metroid games that I haven't played in a while. Actually, before Dread came out, I went ahead and played through the 2D games. I played through Zero Mission. I played through a little bit of Fusion. I need to get back to that, actually. But right now, what I'm really into is Metroid Prime 2, Echoes, the original GameCube version. Not the Wii port, not the trilogy version. I am playing the original GameCube version of Prime 2. And for the first time in, I think, years, I want to say probably 7-8 years, something like that, I started a file a long time ago intending to go through this entire game, and I stopped for some reason on Aegon Waste, which is super weird. That is the first real area of the game. But I stopped playing the game, dropped it forever. I think because I was so busy with personal stuff at the time. But I finally have free time to go through classic video games again, go through some of the stuff that I've had on my back burner for years, and I finally popped it in, played it again, and it is stellar. I am really taken aback by how good this is, because I always saw Prime 2 as the weak link in the trilogy. I'm very fond of Prime 3. I think it really did a really good job with the Wii controls. Great adventure all around, great conclusion, and Prime 1 had really felt like a true sequel to Super Metroid in the 3D environment, and just incredibly stunning visually game. Both of those games are really well paced, really well handled, great combat, great mechanics. 2 feels like the awkward middle child in this regard, where it doesn't evolve from 1 all that much, and it feels kind of like a lot of its decisions, even to a kid, are really baffling. In fact, this is probably one of the first Nintendo games I played where I kind of felt a little bit apprehensive about some of the things that were happening in it, right? Some of the design decisions that came up with. Most particularly, I think, as a kid, my problem was with the ammo system, because in every other Metroid game, when you get a new beam, you can just use the beam, right? Why would you ever have limited amounts of shots, right? Missiles are the dispensable ammo, right? They're stronger than regular shots, and you don't have to charge them up, but you have a limited supply of them. In Prime 2, you actually have an ammo system, light and dark ammo, that are used up as you use light and dark beams. And you're switching between light and dark beams a lot in this one, whether or not to open doors or defeat certain enemies quicker. It's kind of weird, right? And you end up not really wanting to use your different beams all that much, because you don't want to use up all your ammunition. So you use the power beam a lot. And what's more, I heard other people complaining about this, and I can totally see why. There is a split world mechanic in this game, similar to A Link to the Past, where you have a light world and a dark world. And I remember seeing this for the first time and just being completely taken aback by it, thinking that this wasn't Metroid, this didn't really suit in very well, this doesn't feel sci-fi enough, and I still kind of agree with that. And the dark world has weird aspects to it too, where it's just a rehash of the light world, and the atmosphere is so dangerous it hurts you, and you have to go from shelter to shelter, and occasionally wait long periods of time to build up your health. It's a really weird, lots of really weird, strange design decisions for this one. So much so that I've only finished this game once. So although I've played this game a couple of times, right? I've gone through it a handful of times. I've never beaten it more than once, ever. And I think those reasons are a big reason why. It's there's a lot of backtracking. There's a lot of not a whole lot of innovation here. It feels rather like the original in a lot of ways, but at the same time, I am having a downright blast with it. I think story-wise, this game is an extremely underrated game in the trilogy. I think it really does a really good job sort of building up to the reveal of there being a dark world, and Galactic Federation troopers getting fucked, and sort of creating a really interesting organic environment. of like creating this planet that's been besieged by these extra dimensional aliens, right? Well, extra dimensional creatures. So like usually you're fighting aliens. In this one, you're fighting like creatures from another dimension that have taken over Aether and are working to start taking over the entire universe, right? That's their end goal. So these creatures are like made of shadow. They behave differently than any other creatures you've seen at this you've seen up to this point in any Metroid game, and that they're really interesting, unique enemies, right? The entire concept of the Dark World is that like yeah, it comes off as ridiculous, but as an adult, like coming back to this again, you end up really appreciating that like yeah, this is radically different than you typically see in Metroid. But it actually works very, very well. You have confrontations with Dark Samus in this one for the first time. She is a lot of fun to fight. She's unsettling. The boss fights are interesting. There's lots of good usages of power ups in this one. Like there's a Spider Guardian, I think. The Boost Guardian, I think, is the very notorious boss fight in this. There are just a lot of things about the game, going through it again that I'm just like really, really enamored with. Like I am having a downright blast playing through this again. Probably more than I've felt playing through most games recently. Honestly, like I've liked this a lot more than I think the Great Ace Attorney or some of these other games I've been playing. I think the game is underrated. Like I legit like am going back and playing this, and I'm thinking like, what the fuck was coming out around this time? Like what came out around in 2004 that was better than this? And I really can't think of anything. Like maybe Resident Evil 4, but that's it. Like like nothing on PS2, nothing on Xbox for sure. Like Metroid Prime 2 was a really well fleshed out, incredible first person adventure game. One that I think has well stood the test of time.